How to get a business loan with bad personal credit and even no collateral needed and get up to 2 million plus incredibly fast funding. Hi, welcome in. This is Michael from Viral Funding Solutions. And in this video, I'm going to go over exactly what you just heard starting now. So I kind of want to think backwards on this. I've released other content on this in the past that I'll link to you down below in the description that is very similar. Bad credits, no credit checks, all this other stuff, as well as getting approved for a certain amount, and all types of videos like SBA related, PPP, grants, etc. That will be linked to down below, especially startups. But what you need to understand is the logistics of how it works. What I always teach people, business owners who come to me, is that we have to stop thinking about the outer ring. If we're thinking about a bullseye, a dartboard, and the outer ring is the outcome, that's what you want. You want your funding. This is what your goals are. This is what your expectations are. But we miss what's in the middle. Right underneath that ring is the how, which is the process of getting you a business loan with bad credit, which it is out there. We can get you approved with as little as a 450 or a 500 plus FICO credit score, and I'll get into that in a moment, and actually show you a place that I recommend where you guys can go get started right away. But before that, the inner rings, the how is the process, which is the systems that you have to understand, the qualifications, requirements, the numbers, how it works, terms, interest rates, but even better than that, repayment, which I will get back to in a moment. And in the core of that center, like the nucleus, is your who, you. You have to understand yourself, and you have to understand your purpose, your mission, your value. And aside from that, your why you're doing this and why you're in business to begin with, and why it's very important for you to seek out funding, especially if you have bad credit, because I'm going to get into this right now. If you have bad personal credit, sure, you can get approved for funding, but your expectations should not be that of an idle loan. Up to 30 or so years, 5, 10, 15, however you look at it with an SBA type of loan. Can it be forgiven? No personal guarantees attached to that. If that's the way you're thinking, it'll be very difficult for you to get funding, even with bad or even with good credit, because it's going to be hard for you to accept that. With bad credit, I'm going to be honest with you, we're talking about anything underneath like a 600, and that's still a little underneath the 600. It's in the well range. You're not in the good range yet. That your terms will be less than desirable. You may have thought, I have bad personal credit or a bad credit score here. Well, I want to get at least 10 months. 11 months is enough. I'm not asking for, if it's between 4 to 24 months, which is what's going to happen in a lot of the cases, is you're either going to get between 4 to 6 months in terms, or you will get 4 to 24 months. And that's just the reality a lot of the times. You're going to be getting these merchant cash advances, hybrid cash advances that are not bad, and or you're going to be getting a shorter term loan solution. Don't be looking into the whole, can I get a medium term loan? Can I get a longer term loan? It does not work on that case, and sometimes it can, unsecured or secured term loans. You're offering to put up some type of an asset. You are looking for unsecured through private lenders, not specifically the SBA, but the interest rates can be medium to high. We're looking at 25 to 45%, 50% plus. And even in the cases of equipment financing, it can be in that format and in other ways too. So to offset all of this, to get better terms, because a lot of the time your FICO credit score is a predicament of how much time in that term you will get, especially the type of repayment. If you're looking at, I wanted a monthly payment, that might not be even on the table, even if you had good credit. I wanted at least a weekly. Well, you can't anymore because you don't have at least a 600 credit score. You have anything underneath that and more. Sometimes we can get you that with strong revenue, but not in all cases. But you're getting a daily payment. There's a reason why, and I have business owners on a daily basis who come to me. I say, Michael, I could use the funds. I need it for this. Once I hear what your use of funds is for, so there's a big difference. If you have bad credit and you're looking for funding through, let me start right here. You're looking to go through the SBA EIDL. You were not approved, or you're thinking about doing that. No more applications are being accepted. It's only for those who are already in, for increases, reconsiderations, appeals, declines, etc. But you have to understand that not everybody one gets approved there. And if you get approved there, it doesn't always make the most sense. Especially if you wanted a longer, if you're getting a longer term, you're in the debt more. Maybe it is a lower payment, but you're still in debt for a longer amount of times because you want a cushion. But with a less than desirable credit score, you don't get to choose the terms. I've had a lot of people who I've spoken to today, and I actually got a text message right now from an individual that I'm grateful for that they responded back to my text message. It's likely that they're going to go see my email if they have not already, which, by the way, I'll say this right now. If you guys have not filled out a simple questionnaire on what you can get funding for, your best option and options, I have a questionnaire form in the description. You can go ahead and check out. You just fill out some simple funding details. It'll land in my email inbox where then I will analyze, evaluate, and give you a proper response back on your best funding option and options. It's very thorough, broken down, personalized, and customized. I get to know you as a human being first, business second. And I really do break it down. And I did a lot of that just before this video. I've done about 10 to 15 today. I could do more. Maybe I'll do that after this. But that is the best way to get a hold of me if you have not already, is to fill out that simple funding form so I at least have a bird's eye view of what I'm looking at. And I will give you a great email response on all these bonus tips, bonus material, the programs, lenders, brokerages, as well as conclusion on what you can go and do and what I recommend you do. So that's something to do, again, down below in the description. But again, going back to the terms, it's not so much about the product, right? You hear about the 5 to 30 years with 3% interest. If I put up an asset, this is 2% at this, accounts receivable, equipment inventory, collateral for some type of a real estate property, commercial real estate. It all sounds good, right? Like, grants are there, the targeted advanced grant, but that's what's programmed you to think only in that direction. Where over here, we have private lenders, we're sure the interest rates or the factor rates, total payback will be more of a medium to high rate. So that is the risk you're taking when you have a lower credit score, is that you will get a greater rate. So if it's between a 1.19 to a 1.49, or sometimes a 1.19 to a 1.69, because of the risk of you, your profile, your financials, the industry, etc. So if we gave you, let's say, for example, you're doing well in revenue, because we can base this off of revenue-based funding. If you're doing well in cash flow, the amount of deposits, types of deposits, ending, starting bank balances, all of this stuff looks good, and you have, like, let's say a credit score of a 550, then at 60,000 per month, you're requesting 100,000. That may not even be close to what you're going to get. We can try to get you between 75% to 200% in that category, closer to that 75% because of your credit history. And then two, you shouldn't be thinking that I'm going to be getting 12 months, 13 months. No. If you're in the 6-month range, you have a year's worth of time in business, you have at least 25,000 plus per month, and about a 600 and above. And so, I mean, sure, we can try to get you between 7 to 11 months. But if you're anything underneath that, in a lot of cases, you're going to get only up to 6 months, 4 to 6 months, 6 months at most, because of that credit score. Whereas opposed to if you were to go say, well, I'm going to raise my credit score to at least 100, 600, 100 points from now, 610, 620. Now you're moving up the ladder where then, okay, you're doing strong enough in revenue here, 25K per month, like years plus worth in business, 100, 610 FICO credit score. Yeah, we can get you between a 7 to 11 month. And it also has to make sense with the use of your funds. But at the end of the day, it's not about complaining that the interest rate is not what you want it to look like. The APR, the factor rate, the total payback, you know what it is? It's about the repayment. So the benefit has to exceed the repayment. It can't be this way. It can't be flip-flopped. It has to be the benefit exceeds your repayment. And in a lot of cases I see with people who have bad personal credits, they cannot get over that. The fact that it'll hurt their business because they're not in a place cash flow-wise to help. And then there are a lot of people who have strong enough revenue, cash flow is fine, and they'll take it. They'll say, well, you're only approving me for 6 months and I'm getting 40,000 and I have to make a $406, $450 plus payment, sometimes more or less. And this is my total payback. I got the highest of a 1.49 because my credit score stinks. So yeah, it's fine with me. I can take that. It doesn't matter if it's a 500 or a 5,000 plus payment per month or so, 8,000 in some cases, 3,000, 4,000, just depends on each person. as long as I can get the funding. When people get the funding, they understand, hey, I'm going to hit a hard season, or I'm going to need it for a season that I know that we increase our revenue and we get a greater ROI. So I'm going to get the funding. However I use it, it's usually going to be used towards growth and expansion. Before I show you what I'm about to show you, usually when you go through private investors, these private lenders, it's not the SBA, it's not the EIDL loans. All of that usually, if statistic-wise has shown that, that is used for survival money. Over here with private lenders, yes, you can use it for survival money, but it should not only be the sole purpose unless it will not hurt your bottom line, your cash flow. Will it keep you stable? Will it keep you afloat easily? Will it increase your profit somehow? Maybe that the funding won't that you're specifically using, but there's somewhere else in your business that it is. So what you have to understand is that there's survival money and then there's growth and expansion money. And a lot of people, they have bad credit that don't have sufficient cash flow. So they look at the repayment and they go, well, this won't actually help me. Is there another alternative option? Sure, there might be invoice financing, invoice factoring, but that still in times is a difficult option to take for most people, where you can collateralize your invoices in return for funding. There's a line of credit. Perhaps you can offer some type of an asset to lower the interest, but not everybody has collateral, or if you do, you do not want to give that, you don't want to give that up. So what it comes down to is, yes, the example of hitting a hard season, I know I'm going to need to use the funds. It's going to grow and expand my business. It's going to keep it stable, and it's going to increase my profits by another 10,000, 20,000 plus per month, however that looks like on a daily, weekly, biweekly basis. Then by all means, most people will take it. I have a lot of people who do. It's not hard money as most people say it is. It's hard money for hard times for those people who are going through hard things. Sure, people can say it's hard money in a way, but it isn't desperate money. A lot of people take it because they think it's desperate money, but it isn't the case. It's desperate if you don't use it correctly. There are people till this day who I've been educating, and I've got another text message. Sorry, I just got a little ring. I was expecting something from someone, but people who get qualified for term loans through the bank online, who get qualified through an SBA, but I tell them, what are their other options? And those other options make most sense, even if it is a medium to high interest or a total payback factor rate. So it's not me drilling it to you. It's just I want you to get you to understand that whatever other content you're listening to online, sure, it sounds attractive when you can get a business loan, a cash advance with bad credit, personal-wise. And there are lenders and brokerages, and I'll get into in a moment, where it won't be reporting, it won't be checking your business credit, and that won't be reporting to the main credit bureau like Dun & Bradstreet. So you don't have to worry about getting a business credit check. Some other ones do. So if you don't have any established business credit, or if it's not where it needs to be, especially SBA's 155 plus liquid credit and business credit, FICO, FBSS, sorry, sometimes, yeah. But what happens is, if you don't have those credit scores and you don't have the personal and business with your FICO and then the FICO business credit side of the equation, because there's a whole different concept to that I won't get into with the FICO SPSS and all that. But if you don't have the requirements for it, even some unsecured business term loans, you can forget about it. If they check you for credit worthiness, what are you going to do? You're going to say, wow, now I'm stuck with this over here. It's not specifically something bad for you. It is from person to person. But what do you have to do? You have to fix the diagnosis, not the symptoms. Meaning, start understanding how to fix your credit score. And I'll leave a video for that down below in the description for you to check out. Start building business credit, and I'll have a free video series down below where you can get access to over $250,000 in business funding that is not tied to your social security number, your EIN, as opposed to it being tied to your personal credit score checks. And in times, even a personal guarantee, you don't have to worry about that. So that free video series will be down below in the description in time. But going back on the subject, do you have a need for the funds that is going to keep your business stable and it's going to increase your profits? And or not, I'm going to take the funding, or I need it just for payroll, but I have cash flow problems already. See, that's where we get into a predicament of why you never take the start the application, why you never get sent to a lender that I recommend, why you never, when at the end of the day, when you get an offer, if you get an offer, there's a lot of people, by the way, If you don't have sufficient bank statements, if you don't have maybe your tax returns, not in all cases will you be asked for that, depending on the service. Do not cause any fraudulent activity. Just this week alone, I've had a lot of people altering their bank statements, causing financial fraud, and defaulting and being in a judgment. And you don't want to put yourself in that situation. I never want you to. So just understand that there's more to this. And if you watch other how to get a business loan with bad personal credit, they're not telling you everything. They may just be showing you a program. I have some of those videos, but right now I'm going in depth to show you what it takes to get a bad business loan with bad personal credit. And what you can do and what I recommend you do is fixing the diagnosis. That is how to fix it, how to improve it if it's already fixed. There needs to be no fixing. What are the little steps we have to take to boost our credit score? No business credit established. Well, I want that truck. What do I have to do? I'm going to work to build business credit. And I'm going to get access to lines of credit on the back end through hybrid lines of credit. And I'm going to build that with these credit card limits. And I'm going to start getting my funds in order. I'm going to start building my trade lines. But most people, they don't. I have people here from time to time that drop by and say, thanks for telling me the truth. Thank you for being honest with me, not cutting around the corners and telling me, hey, well, you can just go get a bad credit loan here. And then at the end of it, you go, well, I didn't expect this because nobody explained it to you. Nobody educated you on it. And so I'm here to make sure that that comes off of your shoulders. And whoever didn't explain it to you, it's their fault and it's not on you. But it is another problem if you are not tuning into the content and you've been following me for some time, you're not even opening up those emails. That is then a burden. And so what I want you to understand is kind of just to come around, and we'll end this video in about a minute or two, hopefully. But to get a business loan with bad personal credit, not all types of services. Usually you see these with cash advances for hybrid cash advance companies, especially if you're building business credit on the back end, but they won't be reporting to the main credit bureau like that being done in Bradstreet. So you don't have to worry about having business credit established or to whatever degree having getting started there. Now, there are a lot of other services that do, and people don't get that, and they hate hearing the truth when somebody like myself tells them, hey, and they've been told by these people multiple times, but they don't educate you. I'm here to educate you. And so that's what your expectations should be. Like, let's round up here. Your expectations need to come down. Like bad personal credit, SBAs, 7As, nope. 504, nope. Unsecured term loans, for the most part, a lot of the time, nope. Lines of credits, at least a 550 in some cases, but higher revenue, 600 and above is what you usually see about a year's time in business. You don't have that, nope. Invoice financing, invoice factoring possibly can work, but in a lot of cases, nope. So what does that leave you with? Yeah, that leaves you with a limited amount of options as opposed to somebody who has fair, good, great, excellent credit history in their scores. So what do you think a private lender will say when they look at somebody who has a 740 FICO as opposed to somebody who has a 550? Well, yeah, I see the payments that the person over here at a 740 FICO is taking, what they've paid off, how much of a load they've taken on, have they paid it off on time, what is their utilization rate, debt to income ratio, late payments, are there any, if any, how fast are they making their payments, etc. Are they taking on excessive business debt? How many inquiries are they getting on a yearly basis? All of this is to be considered, and that can cause a reduction in how much funding you get. Or if you have limited and you've paid everything well, you're taking the amount of payments, and we're like, okay, that's stellar. We can get you closer to the amount you were asking for. We can get you closer to 200%. But somebody with the profile over here who's saying, well, I want to get to at least 40,000, but it's with a 550 or a 560 FICO credit score, you have no leverage, period. Don't say, but no, there's no but. I had to explain this to an individual the other day. Very nice, but the truth was the truth, and I said it very nicely, and why you were given an offer you were given, why you've been given a reduction. I tried to get them into another position, but they had too many non-sufficient funds, negative days, insufficient bank statements. If you don't have those types of things in line, that can also disqualify you. This is not going to turn into a video like that because I have another one where I actually talked about the underwriting guidelines and then the 8 bank statement issues you want to avoid that I will try to link to down below in the description. So what you have to understand, and I'm going to go on for a little bit more. I know I did this the other day. If you watched my other video, I spoke about how to get a business loan even with bad credit and no collateral. So in a way, it is similar to this. So make sure to check that out if you would like. But yeah, you don't have leverage. Those types of options are off the table unless you increase your credit history to what their requirements are. I've had people today start an application. I saw some personal loan applications come through and I thought, no, not spending time on that because I don't know why they went to go and apply when they don't meet the requirements. You're not going to beat the system by thinking, oh, well, I have a 580 FICO. The requirements are a 700 plus here. It's common sense, guys. Common sense. It's not me being mean. It's common sense. Why do you spend your time filling out an application? Maybe you have nothing better to do. Yes, I have those times too, but I don't want to spend it doing that. So yes, reverse engineering. You don't have the credit score one. Maybe you don't have the revenue. Maybe you don't have the time in business, the documents necessary for this, non-sufficient funds, negative days. You cause fraudulent activity. You can forget about getting business funding in just about every industry. And then another thing too is understanding what terms and rates you're going to get from that. It's not about what are the terms and rates. A lot of people who come into that to what are the terms and rates are usually, and I know the psychology. People who ask those questions are usually the ones who have gone through it in the past. Maybe they've received funding. I had an individual the other day on LinkedIn who asked me, yeah, if it makes sense, I mean, if I don't get this shorter term, and when they're already saying that they're one, blocking themselves, and two, it's not such a use of funds when it's not such a use when they need it, it won't make sense to them. So I know these things because I've been in your position. I know what it takes and I know what you guys are thinking. When you guys don't send me a message back or email me, you can bet I know what's happening a lot of the time. There's a lot of reasons, but you have to understand that I'm not here to punish anybody. I'm here to correct the behavior that's been going on for far too long. Those little short 30-second videos on YouTube, or that lady who has 1 billion views, but they didn't get one thing across to you that could have changed everything. You have to be careful of. And then, yeah, so products and services, do I qualify? Do I not qualify? But it's better to educate yourself on the products instead of asking yourself, what are the terms and what are the rates? And again, there's a whole different misdemeanor or behavior that goes around circulating that, like planets around that looming thought. And then you have to understand the process of how it works altogether. If you can put those little puzzle pieces, and there's a lot of little ones in between that, then you'll be fine. I've had people who are like, hey, can I just get whatever I can get? And if it makes sense, they'll do it. But if it doesn't make sense to you to use those funds, and then understand that survival money versus growth and expansion money. I've had people today submitting some questionnaires, and I'll get into the share screen in a moment, who, oh, that's what I was going to do, sorry. And I was going to end the video earlier. I had milk. Milk makes me want to burp a lot. But hey, Mark, how's it going? Just trying to preach to everyone about getting a business loan with bad credit, and it's just so much misleading information out there. And I see so many applicants. Like right now, I could go through my email list on my phone. I could do it on my laptop here, and I see so many people submitting applications, but then they don't continue forward because, sure, they don't like the offer they're getting. Maybe somebody didn't educate them enough, or I did, but it's just not going to make sense to you, period. Don't just try to, okay, like today I had an individual who, I've had multiple, but I had one who said they wanted it for payroll. That's almost survival money, as I can classify that as that. Revenue is strong enough. So that leaves the question of cash flow. And so if they really needed that payroll money, and this is probably their only option or not, but it makes the most sense, what are they going to do? Now the ball is in their court. I shared with them everything. I gave them numbers. Now it's their decision. So that's what I want you guys to get a hold of. Let me get into the share screen here and show you guys a place. And again, all resources will be left down below in the description. Before you leave, make sure you go. This is like homework, guys. Think about this as like you're in college, you're in high school. You're getting an education. You're understanding how all of this works. And what you have to be doing on your side is taking proper action on the knowledge you've been given. Whether you get more knowledge from what I'm going to leave for you in the description, but you do it. You get it and at least do it. You put it in motion. You're not taking action by reading something. Action is by actually doing something. So now let me get into the share screen here. And it doesn't anger me. Like, this tonality is not coming from anger. It's coming from a lack of understanding that people have. And it's like, especially, it's more of a problem to me when people, and it's not an anger thing, but when people don't actually view the content that I'm releasing, and then they have a billion questions that have been following me for like 3 years, and they go, and I go, where have you been this whole time? Why have you been missing out? You had a question on that, but I released that video, and you've been opening my emails. Why haven't you been watching them? Because, no, that's an excuse. So in this, what I want to show you is we have a company with David Allen Capital Inc. where I can help you get up to 2 million plus incredibly fast funding, and even up to 25,000 same day instant approval, as much as up to 100,000 for a line of credit. So without collateral, no hard credit checks. Says, yeah, that's right. It's a soft pull. Even without interest rates. That's right. We calculate on total payback. It's very simple and fast. Receive a decision within 1 day and capital up to 2 million as soon as 1 to 2 business days. This is small business focused. Top rated providers. We work with the best lenders that I have personal and deep connections with. And what you're going to be getting here is getting the best offer presented to you. It's not just like another online marketplace. It's a brokerage that can really help you. Other ones don't thoroughly break it down for you. Use as you choose. Need to expand or take advantage of volume discounts? It's your business. You can decide how it can be used. What are the qualifications? Time in business. Only 4+ months in business. Business can reside anywhere in the U.S. If you were in Puerto Rico or Canada, I will try to leave information for you down below in the description for that. Personal credit scores must be at least a 500 and above. So here is the whole importance of the video. How to get a business loan with bad personal credit. You're seeing how you can right here with the 500 FICO. You're like, but what is the catch? There is no catch. Let me move this over really quick. If you guys haven't been listening, you're just tuning in. The thing is, if you, again, like I said, and I won't reiterate it, but if you want a business loan with bad credit, you're limited on your terms. You're limited on perhaps how much you can actually qualify for. You'll be closer to the 75 to 1 times the amount you can get of your lowest month or on average and or, as opposed to getting closer to that 200%. And then there's another case where if your business credentials are less, especially revenue, and we can get you possibly between 4 to 6 months, but the rates are going to be higher because you're considered very high risk. So you have to plug into these, and you got to understand that we're not the idle loans. This isn't the SBA. This isn't the grants. This isn't your friends and family. This is serious. Or these are lenders in another sense. But they want their money back. A 550 FICO, anything underneath a 600, even a little bit above a 600, they don't trust. I wouldn't trust you. I don't care if you're my family member or a friend. Well, Michael, I know you. No, you know me. But I'm talking business. I need my money back. Your payment history just unfortunately does not show me anything that tells me you can take on such a payment. If I give you the amount you're wanting, how do we know we're going to be able to get it back? How do we know you're not going to end up in collections? How do we know you're not going to end up complaining? I've had people last week, even at the beginning of this week, I had a loan with this other company, but I wasn't able to make the payments and I went off the rails or something happened and I got sick and I went to the hospital and I love, like, I can sit with that and I'm like, I'm sorry you had to go through all that, but you can't make the payments. You're liable. There's a contract, personal guarantees. Stop taking more than you can chew. Hello. Hi, Tia. How are you doing? Awesome. What business? So for startup loans with bad credit, good question. I'm going to jump right into that. So there's no true sense of a startup business loan. I just released a video the other day on startup business funding against the ending of last week. So I want you to refer to that, and I'll try to leave this in the description when this is fully uploaded, and the description is all there on YouTube. So you might want to check there. But if you go to my videos, you type in startup, it'll say how to get a startup loan with bad credit. and even no collateral. So that's the one you want to go refer to. But in a gist, there is no true sense of the word startup, angel investors, venture capital, crowdfunding, even SBA microloans can help, not in all cases, nonprofits, different types of organizations, microloans programs, even business lines of credits, even term loans. But when you get business lines of credits and term loans, then you're expected to have a higher credit score. You're expected to have at least a 700. We can try to get you in with a 680 FICO, but that's what I want to say is if you even try to build business credit, that can be another way on the back end. Those are the two things. And getting access to credit cards with 0% interest for 12 to 18 months, that would be a huge step up. But to get access to even those credit cards, you have to have the qualifications to get them. And this is why it's so important that everybody builds their FICO and business credit, because without those two things, you won't get the rewards as much as somebody else who has like a 700 and above. They go, yeah, perfect. I'm having this project. If they're investors, I'm flipping home after home and I don't have to pay this for this amount of time. And it's in a lot of different situations, but I have a video on how to fix your credit score, FICO, how to start building business credits. Make sure to look into that. Awesome. Cool stuff. Yeah, I like the arts and crafts. I'm not big on drawing. Like, if you were to see me draw anything, I could draw a stick figure, but it's not going to turn out good after that. I used to have one of those books. I'm sure everybody's had one of these or at least knows about them, where you'd get these figures nicely drawn too, and then on one side it'd open up a blank page, so you could like draw what was on there, kind of sketch it. That stuff is pretty cool. I like that a lot. And then I did some stuff, back in high school, elementary, not even in college, but yeah, arts and crafts and that whole world is pretty cool stuff. And I hope to come out with some of that coming up in the future. But yeah, Tia, that's what you'll want to do. I have a video if you'd like to refer to that. I'll try to leave the link here. I don't want to go through I don't have it open and everything. So for the sake of time on that. But thank you for plugging in and thank you for asking that question. I know you want to really get the help you need, and I really want to do my best to get to know you first and foremost, and then understand your business second. That's what I do, and that's what I do here in the community. People will know me for all of that. Really? Don't tell anybody, but I do too. Oh, wait. You guys are going to know. Yeah, I use Canva. I haven't used it to... Did I use it today? Yeah, I believe I used Canva today to make a little thumbnail for my YouTube video, but I use it for other purposes, for social media posts, Instagram. It all goes all over. Cool. Appreciate that. So if you're just tuning in, we're getting towards the end of how to get a business loan with bad personal credit, and I'm sharing with you guys on screen. So let me get back into that, and then I'll answer anybody's questions if you guys have anything in the comment section. So as I alluded to, personal credit scores must be at least a 500 and above. However, not a but, or it's not a downfall on anything. This is not a catch. Monthly revenue, we're looking at a 15,000 plus in monthly revenue. And it was before, in a lot of cases, it can be 20,000 and above. But if you're not doing that, then we can get you into our up to 25,000 same day instant approval Bank Breezy product in our service here. So it is instant approval, same day funding, as I just mentioned. How does it work? Immediate approvals, just 5,000 plus in monthly bank revenue is what we're asking for. A business checking account, 6+ months in business, and a 450 FICO credit score. All industries are welcomed. Get more when needed. Payment history will earn you more. You get to receive funds time and time again. Add-on funds absolutely are available to you. And you get a personalized account manager. When I took advantage of this, it was very helpful. I'm not saying I do it right now. Pulling up your laptop, cool. And so what you need to understand is that, sorry, I just got a message. Sorry, I have to kind of look back and forth. Somebody just got denied for funding. They sent me a text message, so I'm going to investigate that a little bit. But you have to understand that even at a 450 and above, let me move this. Actually, let me bring the whole screen. At a 450 and above, anything 450, less than 550 can be difficult unless you have strong enough revenue. Your financials are in place. Usually it's stronger revenue that can overcompensate that, time in business especially. But anything underneath the 550 these days, lenders pull away from because they don't want to end up with people who have to call them. I tried to call, but I couldn't get my payment deferred. I tried to get in touch with collection, and that's what happens. And if you're not there and you're in a situation like this, it happens to be that people end up in collections. And then there are people who watch my video. Maybe you're one of them who has good credit and you're like, well, I just want to stay here to watch in case maybe something happens like that for me. Or I know a friend or a family member, right? It's not all about you. It's about somebody else as well, right? You got to think about positioning yourself, but also put yourself in my shoes and think about all these questionnaires that come through. I've already had to do about 15 to 20 today, good amount. And a lot of them did not qualify, but I let them know, okay, what are the options when they do qualify? And if you can qualify for a startup type of a loan, well, then what are the possibilities and what can we do to look at investigating that? But if you're somebody with good credit, excellent, great credit, I've likely spoken to you. Excuse me. And again, that questionnaire form will be down below in the description. I may show you in a second here what it looks like and just close the video from there. Excuse me. It's just, again, the milk. I had a milk cereal. I had the oatmeal brand. Have you guys ever got the Quaker Oats from Costco? I believe it is. It comes in 2 packs. And that's just amazing. I love pouring it in and eating it as cereal. You can eat it as yogurt just by itself in other forms, but good stuff. Anyways, just understand that there are steps to this. And if you want to get help with business funding, actually, I'm going to see if I can paste this in the comment section right now while you guys are watching. Let's see if this is possible. And look, at the end of the day, a lot of people do not tune into the lives. They would rather go hear somebody tell them about the most amazing grant that just came out, or they have an audience that's just built up on startup funding, which I do the two. Startup, non-startups. I have done everything, guys. I focused on grants. I know PPPs. I know EIDL loans well. I know the SBA 7As, the 504s, 8As, all the different types of SBA funding out there. I know the PayPal working capital, the Square Capital, Shopify Capital. I know the private lenders, deep connections with underwriters, senior officers, junior officers, etc. The lenders, underwriters, all goes back and forth. I'm not kidding you. And I talk to them on a daily basis. And we're like, okay, if something changes, what should I know? Or I go to them about a specific question that may have changed. Usually I know everything. I don't have to go ask them anything. I know how to revise everything myself. But there's nothing that like really comes through that I have not seen. If you have good credit, I've spoken to you, but it's also about showing up. Like if you fill out that questionnaire form, just know that I'm not just any person you're submitting that to. I am not just another random person that you can go and submit a questionnaire to. And then when I respond back, it's like, where did they go? Like, I wonder where they went. Like, they submitted my questionnaire form, but I'm not even pressuring anybody. I don't do that. I don't pressure nobody. But I will follow up and say, are you still interested? Did you get my email? Did you happen to see my text? And then sometimes people ghost, like Casper the Friendly or Unfriendly Ghost, like his enemies. Like they just kind of go in a different direction. Maybe they didn't like what I had to tell them, so they're going to go investigate themselves. And guess what? They end up in the same situation, just burning more energy and time. If you want to do that, go for it. Me, I've had to learn things the hard way. And I've had funding for my multiple businesses. So I know what it is like to have less than $5,000 a month, over 5,000, over 10, over 15, over 20, over 30. You want me to keep going? But until you show up, until you really understand not only how to get a business loan with bad personal credit, but how do you do this with well-established, how about business credit? Good, great, excellent. All right, you have excellent credit. This opens up the doors. Your revenue is like this. Great. I've had people today who I've unfortunately had to say, well, you only qualify for 6 months in terms. And a daily or a weekly, monthly, no, that's out of the question. The reason you're getting a daily payment is because of this. And I should even show you guys the underwriting process. So if you guys fill out that questionnaire, oh yeah, I'm going to show you guys some of the underwriting guidelines. So there's no questions asked. And if you don't look at that and you're still asking questions, so what I want you guys to understand is I'm not here to push you. I'm not here to pressure you. I'm just here to show you and give you the value you need. So that is what we need to know, that you are in good hands, like Allstate says, but I really take that literally. And I'm going to be carrying after you. I'm going to be pushing you at times. I said I don't push people, but I'm going to be, if I have to be that bigger brother, because I am a big brother, I have a younger one. And I have to sometimes say, hey, I'm not going to scream at you. Like kids, I don't scream at kids. I talk to adults normally. Hey, I've sent you this information. Did you get a chance to look at it? And it is more telling if it's been weeks and it's been months. I'm like, what the hell? What are they doing? I'm like, what's going on? Well, I couldn't find the email. Yeah, you could have keywords, but you didn't look for it. You didn't do enough searching. If you cared enough, you would have found it. Tell me that's the truth or not. But again, this is a wake-up call for some people, and I don't want to go deep into that because the other time I made a video on that, people thought I was being negative. I wasn't being negative. I was telling you guys what you guys don't want to hear. And sometimes somebody has to tell you. And if you keep going on like this, thinking, oh, well, I deserve this loan, I deserve a monthly repayment. Some people do. I spoke to a lot of people just recently, purchasing existing businesses, hotels, expansion, funding, growth for all types of purposes. So I go, hey, yeah, this makes sense, but let's actually revisit that. Let's look over this type of solution. And they sometimes will ask me why. And then when I am finished giving my points, they go, or they'll go out of that going, meh. So it's all up to what you decide to do with what's presented to you. And again, I'm not trying to raise my voice because I'm screaming or being negative or complaining. It's because I'm trying to help you guys understand this process. And I went a little bit long yesterday, so I guess I'll give it a minute. If anybody has any questions, please leave them for me. I will try, if I didn't say this, my time blocks usually end up being from like 12 to 1:30 or so if you see me live on here on YouTube. So even if I don't announce it, just know that from time to time, it has been a little bit more consistent that I'll be on here. Tomorrow's Thursday, so likely I will. If not, you'll see me on TikTok or Instagram and a few other channels. But yeah, I'm going to leave the floor open for some people if you guys have any questions. If not, I'll conclude. But while you guys are coming up with that, if so, just understand, even if you have bad personal credit, it's not the end of the world. You can go from 6 months to like 7 to 11 months. If you increase it just from a 580 to like a 600, a 605 to a 610, yet we still have to look at the details of your revenue. Like we have to understand that. And don't cause any, like I have so many people with bad issues, but they even make it worse for themselves because they cripple themselves when they try to cause fraudulent activity or they try to alter their bank statements. I've had people just recently ghost. I texted them the reason why they got declined. And guess what? Yeah, I never heard a word. They know. Oh, they know. And that's the thing. Like you're going away from something or you're wasting somebody's energy and time. Like you want to get on a phone call with me, it better be very important. It better be not a waste of an hour's worth, not talking about something that doesn't like apply to what we're trying to do. And it's just all 100% based on emotion, which I love to hear about. I want to hear about who you are. I want to get to know about your business, what you want it to be. But that's not all it should be. And then there are times where I will cut the conversation short and I'll say, hey, once you're ready here, I can speak to you in about a month. And then we can go from there. I have an individual who is going to go open up a business checking account. So you cannot use a personal checking account for business, even in a lot of cases for Navy Federal, which I've had a lot of people do and change. So you cannot use your And another thing too, you cannot transfer from multiple accounts, especially from a personal account, and consider that being revenue. Like, why are you having all these multiple accounts transferring into the one main account that we're trying to evaluate you for in the application? That won't apply. That's not considered revenue. So a lot of people have come up to me recently, well, I have the revenue, I have the time in business, this is what it shows, but it's not stated revenue. So what it is, it's very important for you guys to get everything put together. Email, name of the business, NICS codes, make sure that's correlated. Should you have the name of your industry within your domain name? If you have a website, which you should have. Today alone, I've searched up a lot of business owners who I've contacted who do not have websites. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but hey, that you just cannot do that all the time, and it won't help you build business credit. It won't help you establish certain things you want to do, and that's why people are limited, and that's why you're in the position that you're in today, if that's who you are. And again, you can fix these things. Don't worry about it being like that forever. But if you work on it, if you just take some time and you come back and you go, hey, I'm ready. I just raised my credit score up to 100, 650. It was about a 550. Can you believe that? What did you do? And then sometimes they tell me before. So now that's like major, because even if the payment at first would have been like 400 to 500, they just reduced it by half. Perhaps now it's 250. Maybe seems too much. But again, if you're using that money correctly for growth and expansion, $250 a day to somebody who's doing well enough in revenue, sufficient revenue per day, it would really just not seem like that much. And it may, because money is money, no matter how much, but it's about how you raise your own standards. And so when people come to me and they go, I really need help, and they hear what they don't want to hear, they get told what they don't want to hear, it's a lot of the times they don't go and correct that issue. They fix the symptoms by going applying at 10 different spots. They go spend a $300,000 course to try to help them. And then they come back to me and they ask me why. I'm like, well, I'll show you why, but what are you doing? Like, this has got to get fixed. So that will conclude everything in this video. It doesn't look like anybody has any questions, comments, or concerns. I do appreciate you guys for being here today and watching. You will understand now how to build your credit score in a way, what you got to do. There's more to that down below in the description. And yeah, that'll conclude everything for me. Talk to y'all soon.